Cesar Chavez and His Nonviolence Movement by Emiliana Gonzalez. My research question is it right to say that Cesar Chavez receiving the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 1994 is justified due to his historical impact on society and using of God's words of nonviolence and putting others before his own self-interest? I chose Cesar Chavez because of my heritage. I am Mexican American just like Cesar. I also decided to research Caesar because of his ideologies, which I stand by and aspire to replicate. Just like Caesar, I have a lot of faith in God and try to put others before myself. I also chose Cesar Chavez because of the symbolism he means to me. He is a beacon of hope and demonstrates we are all given opportunities to be the best person we can be, as long as we follow our faith in God and in our hearts all the time. Cesar Chavez was an American labor leader in California during the 1960s and 70s. He organized boycotts to raise awareness for the poor working conditions and unfair wages of farmers. Cesar Chavez grew up in a rough period during the Great Depression. This made him value life more as he got older. He grew up poor and hardworking, which were traits passed on by his mother. His mother, Juana, was a very religious Catholic woman who taught Cesar a lot about life. My first source is a book called Cesar Chavez by Michelle Houle. I picked up the quote, "He accepted Orthodox Catholic positions, the church must care for the poor, and Christ's model in nonviolence is admirable." This demonstrates how Caesar always wanted to care for those who had less than him. He wanted to give everyone an opportunity to be successful, and he always was willing to give out a helping hand. He fought the injustice of inequality by using God's teaching of nonviolence because he never wanted to hurt anyone. This conveys how Caesar put others before him, and one reason Caesar deserved the Presidential Medal of Freedom. My second source is a scholarly article called Cesar Chavez and the Ethics of Exemplarity, written by Maya Gustavo, a Princeton grad. From this article, I chose a quote: "For Chavez, Jesus was an exemplar of commitment to the poor and oppressed, and to the nonviolent struggle for justice." This quote expresses how much Caesar praises Jesus. Caesar was a very religious man and wanted to model his life as much as he could to the following of Jesus. Just like Jesus cared for the poor and the oppressed, so would Caesar by boycotting the unequal pay and setting up for his fellow farmers. He did so by using nonviolence for justice because he knew hurting others was wrong and something Jesus would never do. My third and final source is the primary source. I chose a new service titled Liturgical Week Opens on Ecumenical Theme of Hope. The speaker of the new service was Donald Ranley, and it was on August 25th and 26th of 1969. The quote I chose was when he's talking to Father Conley. Father Conley states, "Look, one man, one life, there is hope." What Father Conley is implying is although America is going through a rough time, and it may seem bad, it only takes one person to change. One person to create the change to fight for what is right and to stand up for what they believe in. Father Conley is illustrating how anyone can be like Caesar and like Jesus by living their life through the teachings of God and believing in their faith and hearts. I believe Caesar is a clear representation of what it means to be a servant of God. He uses God's words of love and justice to stand up for what he believes in. He used boycotts in a nonviolent and peaceful manner to be the representation for the poor. He always was following his faith in his heart, which molded him and helped him care for others, not just himself. Caesar made the world a better place and demonstrated to us that we can too live our life through our faith in God. After finishing researching and studying Cesar Chavez and his life's advocacy, one can conclude with their own perspective that Caesar was a saint and a hero to all. Him fighting for the poor demonstrated how much faith he had in God and how close he kept God's word to his heart. With all the historical evidence, one can conclude that Cesar Chavez did deserve receiving the Presidential Medal of Freedom. He put others before himself and used God's teachings and his own faith to help others. Thank you so much.